What is going on, everyone? Welcome to FSP. It is Thursday, a little after 7 p.m. Central Time, and we are live. Got a lot of shit to cover today because rumors running wild as always. You can't stop it. You can't stop the fog of noise out there from people making stuff up, retractions happening, corrections going on. Certain media people are saying this, others are saying that, and the truth is hardly anybody knows anything. And we're all going to get to see what's actually happening here probably next week. So we'll have lots to talk about then too. But yeah, I want to talk about all this noise and all this nonsense that we keep dealing with in the midst of what should be one of the most critical times against PlayStation in their history. And it turns out mainstream media is picking up the slack on that as games media is trying to deflect the attention away and trying to run interference for PlayStation right now. So, absolutely interesting things going on, but we are joined by one other than Dusty Uno, and he's back. He's had a podcast for a while. He took a long sabbatical. He might be getting back in the game here, so I decided to have him back on the show, and it's awesome to have you here, Dusty. How you doing, bro?
Thank you so much, brother. I feel good and excited. It's been a long time away from the podcast mic, if you will. And even from podcasting with like you guys, and I've missed it so much. So thank you for the opportunity. It's amazing to be here. Even though the news is not so amazing itself, but just to be able to be on the pod again and doing this again with you guys is just, couldn't ask for a better time.
Yeah, man. Well, it's good to have you back, dude. It's been a while, so it's nice to see you just even like hanging out in the community and all that kind of stuff. So it's glad to see you around, and always happy to have you here anytime, bro. And
Thanks,
then
brother.
we got Jasper. He just got a promotion somehow. I don't know how that happened,
Yeah.
but he got a promotion. They had a fireworks show and a flyover apparently just for him. So that was really cool. I don't know how much that cost. But yeah, Jasper, dude, thanks for being here as always, bro. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Living life like I always am now. I'm a grown boy. I'm a man now.
Yeah.
uh, but no, for real. I've just been hanging out. I'm taking a bunch of leave for all of July, so I'm going to try to catch up on as many games as I can. I just bought some stuff for the Steam sale, so check those out.
What did you get on Steam?
Um, Toxic Avenger or whatever it was, the like
Toxic
the four
Commando.
player. Yeah, that's what it was. And then Vampire Masquerade, Bloodlines 2, um, solo leveling game. I think there was like two more.
Oh, you mentioned the Elliot game too, right? The
Oh yeah, I
that
got that
last
like a
week.
few weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I need to play that at some point too, man. We've kind of been back in our Arc Raiders kick lately. I don't know why, but why? Yeah, like my wife just said I know why because we decided to go full rat. Like when we play and try and do objectives and stuff, and it's like you're running into all these heavy PvP lobbies and get frustrating, and it's like, oh fuck this. Then your like inventory just gets drained. But when you decide to go in there and be one of the pieces of shit and just live amongst them, then I think sometimes it can be a better experience. So our Arc Raiders games sessions have been pretty damn fun lately. Other than that, I've been playing like the Ally a lot and playing like Ball Pit and stuff like that. So been
Did they
having fun
add
with those
the
games.
like the co-op only mode or whatever in Arc Raiders yet?
I haven't seen it. I mean, we've just
Oh,
been. I don't think so. It may be coming soon because I think the next extraction is here in the next couple weeks or something. So expedition, yeah, extraction, yeah. Does it? It opens in 5 days. When is it? Jasper asked if they added the PVE mode yet? No, they haven't added that yet. Marathon was the one adding that first. I think they may have added that. I'm not sure. If there's a random person out there that's actually still playing Marathon, let us know if there is the PVE mode out there yet. I maybe one of the few people left at Bungie has that still going right now. Well, guys, say hi to the chat. Got Sea Lord Bravos hanging out. We got Phasma here hanging out. How you doing, Phasma? Def Leopard is here as well. What's up, Def? Got Toe Tag here. You got Serve here hanging out. Silver Lab Guy. Says perfect thumbnail. I'm really pissed from what happened today. Yeah, fuck those guys. Although my wife did me dirty, and like I said in the chat, like
Whoa,
somehow,
you keep that between you and her, okay?
well, hey, well, Jasper, I mean, we live a pretty good life at night, if you know what I mean. So yeah,
Oh,
so yeah, she did me dirty, man. Like, it was like, hey, let's. She decided to make me even fatter than I am on this thumbnail, which I didn't even know was possible. So that had happened. And yeah, but it's like a bunch of noise, man. It's just a noise. It's just noise of, hey, possibly considering. Rumor. Like, just ever shut the fuck up. We don't know what's happening right now, right? We don't know exactly what's happening. I think Jez, like, honestly, out of all of them, is putting it out there the best. Like, he was on a podcast and he kind of broke it down to what is trying to be accomplished, and we'll see what happens, but without jumping to like extremes or naming random studios that are on the chopping block and then have to issue a correction that supposed credible journalists are doing. That's really weird energy. See, Bastion, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Got Boss Mod, Lethal Papa in the house. Brett Bingham's here hanging out. Bar Q's here hanging out. Gravemaker Hero, what's up? Yeah, let's get into some stuff, guys. So, the noise.
let's do it.
I don't know. Should we start with PlayStation and then get into the noise?
Yes.
Because I feel like we should start with the heat. So I want to go to. I do want to start with Jasper on this because I've been itching to ask him this question.
Okay.
Jasper, physical media is officially going away, according to PlayStation, in 2028. And they are ending support for that. No longer going to be putting games out. Third-party developers aren't going to be able to put games out on disc on PlayStation anymore, starting in 2028. It's the end of an era in a lot of ways, and also PlayStation being the first one to do this is actually really, as they are all the same ones that talked how important physical gaming was in the past and use that as a kind of a linchpin for the last generation and how successful they were then. This was a massive thing. I haven't seen this much anger at PlayStation from mainstream media and gamers alike. But tell me how it's Xbox's fault.
Well, clearly it's because there's no competition. Xbox has left the market. They're no longer a competitor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And that's if you guys can't believe, that's the shit that is being said out there from journalists and games media people about PlayStation making this decision and doing this. And instead of putting the blame on PlayStation, shout out to Gene Park, who actually did that on CNN today as he was a guest there. Instead of them putting the blame on PlayStation, they decided to, hey, this is a good time while he's wearing his $150 PlayStation headphones to sit there and shit on Xbox. Can't make this stuff up. But for real, Jasper, like, how do you feel? I mean, you think it was inevitable? Do you think that people have a right to be upset, or how do you feel about
I mean,
physical
I think,
media?
especially when you look at the current game industry with $500 million games, they're struggling to make games with a good profit. So PlayStation looked at the data. We've seen it ourselves through the Spider-Man leak back in like 2 years ago or whatever it was. A majority of PlayStation users only play digital games. And Sony's taking that risk right now and says, okay, if we stop producing physical media, we can save couple $100 million a year, maybe, whatever it is, and we can still produce $500 million games, maybe. It's just a cost-cutting measures for the industry, and Sony sees that,
Yeah.
and they're willing to take that risk for next gen. I think that's simply what it comes down to.
It, I mean, I agree 100%. It's just a money thing, right? This is all money moves, man. All money moves. Dusty, what's your like feelings on it, and I guess the effect to consumers?
Um, I haven't been happy with PlayStation for years. And the last time I bought a PlayStation was the PlayStation 3, and I was living in China at the time. And I didn't even bring it home with me. I left it with somebody else because I just didn't want it anymore. And now seeing this news all these years later, I knew it was inevitable a long time ago. I knew this was coming a long time ago. When, not really sure, but the way everything has been going in any type of media over the years, this was inevitable. However, the way PlayStation is going about it is classic PlayStation in my eyes. Anti-consumer and anti-player base and anti we will refund you for the things you purchased. We're just going to take them away because of our own licensing agreements. And I'm referring to the movies. I think that for anyone to be defending that brand right now and specifically plays that brand, why? Like, what is it going to finally take for you to wake up? Now, do I necessarily care about physical media? Not really, personally for me, because I've been on digital for a long time. But for those that do collect, for the advantages that having physical media can have, this sucks. It does suck. And I feel for a lot of the people that, feel like they were robbed by PlayStation and by Sony. But the thing is, at least in my opinion, they've been robbed by this company for a very long time. It's just more so in your face now than it has been in a very long time. That's my
Yeah,
opinion on it. It
it's it.
sucks. And,
It.
and I don't think it's right.
I mean, it's interesting that like like Grub and I don't even know who the other guy was on a show were like pointing this towards Xbox, and like that for me that makes it almost like even worse of like, okay, this other company's down right now, and everybody's talking about them, so we're gonna use this as an opportunity to like just fucking do the thing that is anti our brand in a way, because a lot of people forget that in the early before the PS4 launched, this was already going to be a thing, right? Um, the last generation was going to be kind of more of a bridge. Xbox and PlayStation were both going to be doing different programs and have like more kind of like a disc to digital program, which Xbox is supposedly working on bringing back. Xbox was taking all the heat for it because it started getting leaked out there to the press, like everything from Xbox does. And when they didn't have clear answers of how it was going to work, right before the showcases, they did the whole "this is how you share games" thing, and they then proceeded on one of their other showcases, talking about the PS4, to go and talk about it, the importance of physical media, the importance of being able to own that disc and own that game and forever be able to do whatever you want with it and all that kind of stuff, right? I was already going all digital at this point myself, so I just like
Yeah.
what it is. But there's a lot of people out there that still stand by physical media and believe in it. And for what it's worth, even though you can say, well, movies is digital and music, you can still buy physical CDs and albums, right, for music. In fact, I would say that's making a big comeback in a lot of ways. Like
I mean,
my yeah,
vinyl at least is,
my
but
my 15-year-old daughter has a great collection of albums. Like that's stuff she asks for all the time, right? And for movies as well, there is still like a big collector's market, and movies still released physically or that come out of the theater, and even like limited releases, you can still get copies of them. In fact, you can even get collector's edition style copies of TV shows and stuff. You know what I mean? So for gaming in this sense, and especially with PlayStation leading the way in this could end up being actually the only one out of the major mainstream media entertainment industries to actually not even offer physical media in some form or fashion. And that's kind of interesting when you have companies that have such a limited, in PlayStation's circumstance here, they have such a limited storefront. They stopped putting their games on PC, right? Their single player games. They are not so they're not you're not releasing games on Steam. You're only releasing games really for your console. You're pushing everybody to that storefront. Really, the only gateway that is going to have access to these things is on the PlayStation storefront on a expensive device, right? And that's really kind of a shame. Now that the biggest detriment for me here also is they made this announcement without any kind of solution to go along with it. There wasn't any kind of like, hey, we understand this is going to be a big thing, and here is something that we are working on that is going to make sure that we're offering protection to the consumers. We're because there is less options out there for everybody. We're going to stand behind these purchases in this way. Maybe offer some kind of like resale program or any of these kind of things. They didn't offer any kind of solution whatsoever to that. And that was kind of surprising that they went ahead and made this announcement despite not having something ready to go along with it. Now, I hope what happens is the PlayStation fan base and the mainstream media and enough this catches on enough to create enough pressures to the people in charge, government, whoever, FTC, all these other kind of things to actually start paying attention to digital rights for consumers and start making a big play there. And then maybe it takes antitrust lawsuits or whoever knows what's going to happen, right? And that's where I think the focus really needs to be. It's not that the digital future isn't here or happening or inevitable. It's the fact that we need as customers and consumers the protections that go along with that if this is the way, right? So no longer being able to pull. They made this announcement like weeks after they pulled 500 fucking movies from their libraries of their customers that had bought movies. And to have that same company be like, "Hey, we're going all digital in games now." Hey, good luck. It's not really a good it's not really good vibe there. So but it's Xbox's fault apparently, Fuzzy. It's Xbox's fault because you know what? They raised the price of their console so they can PlayStation's free to do this now. Damn it, Xbox is always at that Series S, man. Why the hell? Welcome to the show, Fuzzy Belvedere. How's it going, bro?
Oh, it's going great other than the temperature outside being like 105. But I know you guys are used to that in Texas. It's yeah,
Yeah.
we're kind of living the hot life like you guys do. But yeah, it's crazy seeing the games media blame Xbox for what PlayStation does. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, did you see that Grub clip? From his, I don't
Yeah.
even know who the other guy's in it. Who the other guy is that's talking. I mean, Grub was all along. He's like, yeah, man, yeah, it is Xbox's fault. I mean, they have no consumer goodwill. They have no like if they just keep doing horrible consumer thing. Like I besides raising the price of the console, I would actually challenge them to name anti-consumer moves that Xbox does versus PlayStation.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to answer the fucking question. They wouldn't be able to answer the question. I don't know how they could. But anyway, go ahead, Fuzz. What are your thoughts on the whole physical media in general, like thing going on?
Okay, so a lot of people know it's not that I'm against physical media. I'm just surprised it's held on this long,
Yeah,
considering 2016 was the last year that PC game publishers still produce, DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever, as far as from their direct sourcing. There have been some limited run games, like for Flight Sim. I think that was one that went through a third party where the game was something like 16 or 21 discs or something like that to get all the info on disc. But PCs haven't had, physical media in like well over a decade. And I'm just surprised that consoles have taken this long for, PlayStation or Xbox to say, let's cut our costs somewhere. I mean, sure, we don't benefit in any way where, digital should be cheaper because it's cheaper for them, but we
Yeah.
don't see a price break. But I get it. Those that want physical media, um, I understand. But here's the key thing: not every disc is going to be a full game. Not every disc is a streamable or playable game as soon as you put it in the console. Some of them have a online check-in. Some of them have online downloads as far as updates and whatnot. Um, some of them aren't in; they're incomplete games. As far as what's printed to the disc itself. So I get the call for physical media, but since you guys are less than 10% at this point, I think we've kind of lost that battle. I think it's time to move on, other than with things like limited run and a few other third parties that still do the physical media. I think now as a group or as a group of gamers, we should focus on making our thoughts clear on digital as far as when it comes to ownership. Like you made mention as far as Sony taking away movies that people have paid for. I mean, sure, if you purchase stuff like, let's say, 10 years ago or even 6 or 7 years ago, it didn't have any specific language saying that, this isn't something you own. Now they've, updated the terms of service and you can't not agree to it. It's like you either agree or you lose access to your account. And in that, they have this small print saying that we have the right to revoke that license at any given time, blah, blah, blah type of deal. And I think that stuff needs to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether we need to, challenge our politicians to bring stuff to Washington as far as bills that will protect the consumer in cases like that, or if it's just a matter of we vote with our wallets with these companies and they start to realize we're not backing down on digital purchases being something that we can trade, sell, or I think the right word is bequeath when it comes to leaving that to family members if you should pass. Like, not that I'm worried about leaving my gaming library to my kids, but it's like right now, per the terms of service, if they log into my account to access those games, they're in void of terms of service, which means thousands of dollars in games that I have goes out the window. And I think that needs to stop. I think we need to have it where if I want to trade this with a friend or a family member or sell it or whatever the case may be, even loan it for a period of time, I think it's something that we should do. And I kind of talked about this is what should have replaced NFTs. Like if you made it where all the stuff they were saying about NFTs were what we could do with digital content as far as games and such, that would make more sense to me as far as the ownership of it. But them trying to sell like little pictures that only you could use and you can use it in every game character that, the publishers deem it, compatible or whatever, that was always silly to me. But making it so we own our movies that we buy, we own the music that we buy. It's not just some license to listen to it until they say no or something along those lines. I think that's the hill that we need to, stand on at this point. I don't know. From my understanding, it's like over 90% of from global. It used to be mainly in the States that it was like, 89, 90% plus range. But now it's like global that people have pretty much moved on digitally. So I think it's time for us to make that stand.
Yeah, it's gonna have a huge impact though. Like even if it is a small percentage, because like the even though retail is diminished with physical, I mean it's gonna diminish even more. You have the consumers that have been all physical, and then part of my thought process is the people that have these massive libraries of physical games. And for example, like if you have a Series X now, you can put an Xbox disc in it, you can put a 360 disc in it, you can put an Xbox One disc in it, all that shit, and it'll work if the game is back compat, right? And if we lose physical media, period, right? Then there are a lot of games that are never released digitally from the past. And that is going to be something where if you only have a finite amount of hardware, I'm thinking 20, 30 years from now, right? You know, how many more how many 360s will exist 30 years from now, right? How many
Maybe there'll be a
original
classic console.
how many
I mean,
original
isn't that
Xboxes?
retro gaming at that point? Like, if anyone, like, people still play the N64 nowadays, and that's over 25 years old or whatever. So, like, is that just your hobby, your niche in the gaming industry that you play is you're a retro gamer or whatever?
Yeah, I just
Mhm.
don't. I look at like the history of gaming, and like I want these things to be preserved over a long time. And it like with movies and stuff, we can watch a movie from the fucking 20s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but like you can't go and play like in a fucking television game
But you
right
can
now unless you
see
buy some kind of
that's the thing though,
collection
is
or
you
it's like
can
you know.
only watch the movie from the 20s because it's digital. They put it in digital. So it's like
Right.
eh,
That's true, right? Yeah, that's true. Or if you own old, or somebody released a physical version, updated physical version of it, right? But that's what I'm getting at is like these old games and stuff. They're only gonna do it in ways that they're going to sell it again in like remakes or rematch. Like they're not gonna give us the original versions again. Like movies
no.
are very like not changed too much and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's like
Mhm.
you lose that history, and over time that history will get smaller and smaller just because there'll be less out there, and the collectors will end up hoarding it all. You'll have like like the mass collectors that have these massive collections that'll end up just becoming worth more and more money, and the rest that's out there for the everyday customers, that people that are fans of these things won't have access. That's why I like the disc to digital thing. That
I
extra
think if Xbox wants a good
I
PR
hope they
win,
get.
they ship the next console for the next, like, the year after the release, they ship it with a disk drive where you can transfer your games to digital if they want a good
Well, so
PR win.
according to The Verge, that's supposedly what they're working on right now is this to digitize feature for the next console. I
for
hope that's true
next
because that would
Xbox,
be,
yeah. Which is
you know,
which is what they were working on with the Xbox One, and everybody flipped out.
Yep.
Um, everybody flipped out. Now this was a different time. I understand it was a different time. It's talking about 13 years ago, right? But they were in the thinking of, and this is I get onto Xbox and Microsoft very often with this kind of. Sometimes they look too far into the future and are like trying to push that along a little too much, and people aren't ready for it yet. And then the rest of like people just see how people are reacting to the fallout of
Yeah.
whatever they're trying to do, and it's like, okay, well, we're not going to do that, you know. So it kind of bites them in the ass when it comes to like sentiment. However, like the merits of where they see things or where they know things were going was still accurate, right? It was just a little ahead of its time. And now in this day and age, they're looking to bring that back. So apparently, what they're working on is it'll work for Xbox One games, it'll work for Xbox Series S and X games, but it won't work for original Xbox and 360 games. Um, so that's a little disappointing. However, I'm hoping there is some kind of solution for maybe emulation, more games being available to buy digitally that were released in the past as physical only. Again, this all comes with consumer stuff too, protections. Like I'm sick of these. Part of the problem is these license fucking deals from companies. Like, hey, we got to pull the game now because you only have access to our fucking cars for 2 years. Or oh, you can't use this music again for in our game for two. Like, come on,
yeah,
motherfucker. I bought like, what do you mean? We you bought the if you released the game, you allowed it. You signed the deal. We should be able to buy that game fucking forever. You know what I mean? I'm sick of like those Transformers games not being available. Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle Earth 2, if I want to play that shit, the only way to play it is on a fucking disc. And guess what? Good luck getting a fucking disc drive on a PC, right? So you either got to pirate it, which is supposed to be illegal, right? Or you got to buy a fucking disc on an old console like a PS2 or 360 or PS3 or 360. And then it means you got to buy a whole other piece of hardware just because you may be interested in a couple games. Like, I mean, come on. And it doesn't get any updates and stuff, man. Like if these games are released digital now, we'd be able to get like up-res, we'd be able to get like HDR things, FPS boost, and all this shit. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm sick of all these fucking companies making stupid ass rules on this shit. We got to protect the customers. That's where our attention should be. Is
So,
blaming all these businesses for just fucking us all, and we gotta write the senators. And this is what the senators' note will say: stop letting them fuck me, please, Mr. Senator.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what this comes down to is Don Matrick was right. We have a 360 for you.
Right? Yeah. We have a console for you that, like, if you get like old games, it's called a 360. Man, how many of them are going to be left in 20, 30 years? Right? How much are they going to be worth? It's going to suck. It's going to suck, dude. Well, I don't know. Do you think there's a solution to this, Dusty, besides like do you think Xbox is on the right track with that? I mean, like if Helix doesn't have a disk drive built in, which probably most likely would, maybe you think they could allow an add-on disk drive for back compat physical games? Maybe.
I agree with that. I think that's one thing that they could do. Doing the disk to digitize feature is obviously that would be a great feature to have in this world where physical is going to completely going to digital. But for people who don't want to do that, to still have the option of a disk drive to be there to play those old games, I mean, back compatibility is supposed to be an Xbox staple at this point. And what better than to get a hand over the competition than to fully support that compatibility in a way these other companies are not. Whether the disk drive comes with it or it's an extra add-on, I just hope the extra add-on isn't like, if the console's $1,000, the extra add-on's like $500. Obviously, I don't think it would be that much, but I just would hope not. And but and the only I know they're not going to do this, but the only other way for them to really make a big impact with Project Helix, and people can say I'm wrong for this, and that's fine, but they need to be willing to take a loss on it. They have to if they want to make if they want to make a huge splash again for the Xbox the brand, just outprice everyone. Just take the loss, take the hit, stop acting like you can't afford it, and then get your return in other ways. Game Pass, new games, this and that. Um, Other than that, I don't really know what they can do other than just other than these things to save face. But now seeing this backlash from PlayStation, it makes sense that the report of them supposedly going back to the drawing board to rethink this Helix thing, like that seems very reactionary, obviously. And I hope they're really, really understanding that they have an opportunity here to upset the competition in a certain way. Um, but it's hard because, to be honest, Xbox and PlayStation have really effed themselves over a lot lately. And, Valve for PC kind of the same thing, but at least they came out and told people that this is just the Steam machine is just an option, that if not a need be must have to be a PC gamer or to even PC game on your TV. And by the way, people acting like, oh, the Steam machine, now I can finally play PC on my TV. Oh my God. Like as if there wasn't an HDMI connection years ago. But yeah, I've been doing that. Like I just don't understand that part. But other than those things, I really don't know. I'm open to ideas as long as they make sense, obviously. I don't know if my idea makes sense, but I feel like these are the only things they can really do to try to get back in good graces with the community, not just Team Green, but gaming as a whole.
Well, I mean, if
They
this
have to be willing to take
generation
a loss.
along the way didn't put them in good graces with games media. I don't know if like anything will, because it was almost like, hey, we're really trying to
Yeah,
be
you're right.
competitive.
You're
We're
right.
trying to be like acquiring all these studios. We're trying to deliver more games. We're giving a gaming subscription that has day and date games to our gamers at a reasonable price. We are doing Xbox Play Anywhere, where we have cross access across gaming and consoles and PC. They had the most powerful hardware. They had a cheaper option available as well. Like they had like almost every pro consumer thing you could possibly think of. And games media, like, who spreads the message and talks about all this stuff, they didn't give a shit about any of any of that stuff. It was all about Game Pass is gonna kill gaming. Acquisitions are bad because it's Microsoft. And when are they gonna have a game of the year candidate? And that was all their conversations, man. It's like really, really, and we're seeing it even like every day with all this stuff. But I have a question for Jasper.
Yeah.
Would it be funny, like, if they flipped the whole "this is how you share games" thing again on PlayStation now, and was like, "We're gonna have a disk drive in the Helix. Fuck you, PlayStation. This is how you share games, and we're gonna be having physical media to stay." Like, I'm not saying like business wise that it's I'm not saying it's smart. I'm not saying cost wise, I'm not saying it's smart. I'm not saying that it's smart from um like where they thought they were going, or even cost of being able to make a Helix, right? However, winning over consumer sentiment, that's exactly the fucking move that PlayStation did back then, and like that would be fucking insane. Um,
I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. Is like I think it'd be funny, obviously, but I think the smart way Xbox does that is where I was saying is for the first year that the Helix is out, they ship it with just like a disk drive because what that's like $20. Like who actually cares at the end of the day for that? Um, and then when you do that, you make it a big PR things like yes, if you still have a collection of games, whatever you want to play them, they still work on Helix. You just and it comes with a disk drive. And then after that year, that like they phase it out and they like the next few years they sell it separately if you need it. And then after that, they just stop doing it because Xbox has already seen the line too. Is like they know it's a digital future,
oh,
but if
even
you
more
can
so
win
than
that,
PlayStation. Yeah,
yeah, if you can win that small 10% or whatever it is left over to your brand, it's not going to make Xbox outsell the next PlayStation, I don't think, but it will bring some people over to your console
yeah,
because there's people out there that care about digital for some reason or physical.
For some
yeah.
reason.
None, none of I mean, none of us are those people, but I do know people in the community that do love physical gaming, right? And it is those guys that I think about really with this stuff. It's like that would be the selling point for those people, is whether something has a disk drive or not, you know. So it is an easy win for a certain amount of gamers, like to go out there. But if it's but then you think about the actual publishers too, and third party publishers. Are they going to want to make disc games for like just the Xbox if they're not releasing them on a PlayStation? You know, like there's a thought to that too. You know, how many games are still going to be being available physical if PlayStation backs out of it? It's almost like their
I mean
decision makes a decision for the industry, you know, in some
that's true
ways.
because like if there's a third party, like they're not just going to be like, okay, I guess we'll print some for Xbox.
Right, which if there's a game that's on the Switch, they will for that, you know, but
Yeah,
there's so many Switches out there. But I don't know how many Helixes are going to sell, you know? Um
Hmm.
it's a crazy thing, and like PlayStation is kind of like the big dog when it comes to this, and what they kind of dictate here is going to influence everything. That's why I was so against them going to 70, because when they were the first platform holder that went up to $70 on games, it was
I
like,
know.
well, that was it. You know,
Hey, now
they're
it's
the
going digital. It's
dictators.
going to go cheaper, right?
Ev-
It's going to go back down.
no.
Oh,
No. I wish that would be nice.
You're right. It's going to 80 now, so
Probably will.
I know.
Um,
Mm-mm.
has PlayStation had an $80 game yet? I don't think they have. Right?
No,
Only Nintendo.
no.
Right? The Xbox was going to, and they backed out. They were like, "Hey, this is actually
Even
really fucking
70 is
dumb."
ridiculous.
But who will be the? I mean, Nintendo's setting the price here. They get no
Yeah.
backlash for it, really. And they're gonna get away with it saying it's because we're releasing games physically. Is a game on Nintendo cheaper if it's digital?
No.
I don't think so.
Fuzzy, you're on mute, bro.
There's one game that they did cheaper digital. I think it was Star Fox. I think if you bought it digitally, it was like $10 cheaper compared to the physical copy.
Yeah, I think they were testing it with like some of their newer games, but I don't think there's like they haven't really made an official stance on if they're going to do it for everything or not. I think.
Yeah.
Well, what was Mario Kart World's digital price? Because that was like their first $80.
Pretty sure it's
It was
$80.
still
It's
80,
80. Fuck.
but
Okay. Yeah.
it was 50 if you did the bundle.
Yeah.
You could save that way.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. I mean,
Smart. That's how they get you.
I mean, that is a part of it too. Is the less options that customers have, like physical in a way, it still kind of held some things in check because there was more of a secondhand market for it. So it kind of, if they were to price things outrageously, then you'd have secondhand market for those things probably becoming more of a choice for the customers, right? So they would be like, okay, well, we're gonna have our price at a more reasonable, amount to start with, so people don't wait and buy it used. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man, to keep an eye on what happens, what the fallout is of the end of the physical era officially, and for at least for PlayStation, and by doing so, when Xbox does it, guess who we get to blame? Motherfuckers. You're going around, I see Grub and the little guy next to him wearing your PlayStation headphones. You went out there and tried to blame Xbox for doing this. PlayStation's want to announce it. When Xbox does this, guess who we get to fucking blame? Because I know you're gonna blame Xbox when PlayStation goes up on the fucking price. Y'all are gonna be, when PlayStation goes up on the price, you're gonna be out there being like, it's because Xbox did it, and now PlayStation doesn't have anybody up there to hold them to the. How about you hold fucking people accountable for their own fucking actions, you pieces of shit? They did it.
I agree. That clip, and then somebody tried saying in Boom's chat this, morning for me, that, oh, did you watch the other like 90% of the video? They were talking about PlayStation. That's not the point. You could say whatever you want for 3 hours, but if the last 10 minutes of your show, you have the nerve to blame Xbox for this PlayStation decision, which was a PlayStation decision, which this is pure fun speculation for me, but I feel like Rockstar knew this ahead of time, read the room, and that's why there's no disc coming, because they knew this was happening. Like, it doesn't matter what you said for those first 3 hours. Those last 10 minutes was complete trash. And obviously, that's just an example of the show. But how are you going to say, well, they talked about PlayStation, but that's not the point? Cool, they talked about PlayStation, good, that's what they should do. But then to completely veer course and then blame Xbox, what is wrong with you? And why is it always Xbox's fault? No. Why is it always the Series S's fault for destroying the game industry and gaming as a whole as we know it? Like, when I bought the Series S, I didn't realize I was buying a nuclear warhead for the gaming industry. Like,
Before that, it was Game
bananas.
Pass. It was Game Pass's fault, and it was the Series S's fault. Then it was no games. I mean, it's just like across the board, but they run out of things, so they just have to make up new stuff. Now it's the lack of consumer goodwill is what their answer is now, and they're Xbox trying to be competitive by making Gears E-Day exclusive and Clockwork Revolution. They're trying to bring some like, hey, there's reasons you need to buy the hardware, all that kind of stuff, right? Trying to bring some strength back to the platform, to the console, all that kind of stuff. In the same show this week today that they were talking about yesterday, because I saw this clip of Grub and them talking about, well, it's, you know, these studios, it's got to suck to be an Xbox studio person now working at one of these studios, because it's like they tell you can do whatever you want and you get to make your art and you get to all do this stuff, and then now they're saying, well, you can't do that anymore. You're gonna actually have to make stuff that sells. And I can't believe what it's like there when they're saying that, you know what, you're gonna be able to do what you want, and then PlayStation guys are going to play your game too. And now they're telling them, oh, now only it's going to be exclusive. So now the game's going to be exclusive. I can't imagine how scared they are that the game's going to be exclusive, because if it doesn't sell, then they're going to be out of their job. Motherfucker, do you want them to be competitive or not? Make up your fucking mind. Just choose one. Do you want them to die and just go completely third party and just erase hardware? I know that's what all you really fucking want, because that's what Greg Miller said. Couldn't believe that fucking shit came out of his mouth. That's what all you guys want, so just fucking say it. Stop beating around the bush and pretending like you're, well, this is Xbox's fault that they're not more competitive. If you want to be more fucking competitive, let them to fucking try to be more competitive. Stop trying to play two fucking sides. If you want to be more competitive, they're going to do competitive fucking moves that, guess what, a lot of you motherfuckers ain't going to like, because they ain't going to put as many games on your fucking PlayStation. And then guess what? Now if they aren't more competitive, PlayStation gets free will to do whatever anti-shit to you? Make it make sense, bro. You shouldn't be diminishing every fucking thing that Xbox has ever fucking done that has been pro-consumer. You should have been preaching that stuff to everybody and putting pressure on PlayStation to do the same things. If you had been promoting and talking about, oh my god, Xbox is doing this, why isn't PlayStation giving us this? Why is cloud saves behind a fucking paywall? Why aren't we getting day and date games in PlayStation Plus? Why does PlayStation Plus suck ass? Just saw something today that said PlayStation Plus is probably going up again too. For what? You aren't even fucking putting your own games into service. What are you paying for? You don't even fucking get your own games. Why? Why aren't your own games on your fucking subscription service? Oh, that's because they're too valuable. It'd be bad for your... It's the fucking company making money off of you. You dumbasses. Ask for better. Ask for better. And when they shit on you and they fuck you in the ass, it's not Xbox's fault. It's yours. It's your fucking fault. It's all your fault. Anyway. I went a little Seinfeld there, I think. So
Don't do that.
guys, we have more stuff to talk about besides physical gaming. We have more media nonsense to talk about. More media nonsense. Because today, Christopher Dring told the world that Obsidian was about to close. And oh my god, this shitstorm that this caused. This is another one. Christopher Dring, you know, the same guy. This is the same guy that said they're just stop investing in Game Pass. This was 2 years ago. Some developers at Gamescom told me, I was talking to some developers at our junket. I don't know what, our press junket. I don't know what the fuck he was at. Our little event here, and they told me, hey, I don't even know why we're putting games on Xbox. And hey, you know, they're not doing deals for Game Pass anymore. They're really toning that down. Meanwhile, Persona fucking 6 is coming to Game Pass. Like, they just doubled down on the amount of big third-party support of games going to Xbox, getting Square Enix and all these things, and also games going into Game Pass. Right now, it might be a different story. There might be a little bit of holding just because of the whole reset, right? We'll see what happens there. But Christopher Dring ran with, in his, can't make this up, in his thing saying, do gamers even play physical anymore? Running interference with the whole PlayStation thing. Meanwhile, his entity is sponsored by Sony. Continues to just spew a bunch of bullshit about Xbox. Mentions Obsidian as one of the studios negotiating for their lives right now. Fuzzy, is it weird that Jason Schreier is kind of our hero right now?
I wouldn't call him a hero, but at least he's, seeing how Xbox likes to clap back on, misinformation. So I guess he figured, well, he needs to get in front of that as well, so he can, maintain his reputation as being a actual journalist or gaming journalist. But I don't know. I'm not going to say anything mean about the ring, but I just
Yeah.
it seems like, when people joke about, hey, where did this big bad company touch you on show us on the doll kind of thing, it really feels like somebody must have peed in his Cheerios or stole his girlfriend, and they must work at Microsoft or Xbox or something, because he's really got an ire for them as far as anytime there's a whisper that something's amiss in Xbox, he's going to report on it, even if it's not verified or double checked or triple checked or what have you. Oh, I like you said, the whole Game Pass thing. It's like, well, maybe the developers you talked to were the ones that they didn't really care to give the bag to as far as for their game. Maybe those games weren't what they wanted in the service. It could be that your sources might be a little bit jilted because they got turned down for an offer. Like, remember, we heard that with Game Pass, there was a waiting list of developers wanting to put their games on the service. So if, let's say, 4 or 5 developers get turned down, then maybe they start this rumor, and that's who, Dring has a couple of beers with or whatever he does type of deal. But yeah, Jason Schreier, I'm waiting to see what kind of hit piece he does on the bloodbath. And I don't want to make light of the situation. People losing their jobs is not something to like make light or joke about in any way, shape, or form kind of thing. But some people have already stated, like, or tried to state that this will be the biggest layoffs in gaming. And I'm like, I could have sworn Activision laid off like 9,000 people shortly after the acquisition, or no, shortly before the acquisition, like almost like they were cleaning house before they, hand the keys over to Microsoft. I remember there was a large layoff grouping, and then there was a continued one after the acquisition, but there was one just beforehand. Um, and I remember there was also pretty big layoffs at Ubisoft, and there was another one. Oh, Embracer. Didn't they lay off like 8,000 people over the course of 2024 when all of those handshake deals kind of went awry, and they, owed all this money on studios that they were hoping to make, this investment from, I guess, the Saudi investors or something like that. So, yeah, there's been other bigger,
8,000
layoff.
employees for Embracer.
How many?
8,000.
Yeah. So
And
it's
that's
like,
just a video game entity, really.
yeah.
Like
So with
Microsoft as a whole might be about that. We don't know what's going to happen, right? But
well,
yeah.
the previous estimates were like 2.5%. If it's anything
Mhm.
along the lines of last year, but they're saying it's probably going to be smaller, although it will be more focused on the Xbox side of things. But that would put them at around 5,500 people that they're going to probably let go. Some of it's already been contractors, some of it's already been not volunteers, but it's been where people that might be close to retirement, or they want a severance or something like that. They're offering those in advance. So I could see this not being as big of a bloodbath as some people might think, but I do hope instead of closures, they're able to spin off some of those studios, or they can go back to being independent, or maybe fall under, what was it, NetEase or something like that. Not that that would be that much better of a fate, but at least somewhere where they can keep the lights on, keep a good bit of the staff, and continue making games, kind of deal. But I don't know. But I'm pretty sure Schreier's got like 20 pages ready to go with like half the story already, interviews and all done type of deal. But I guess we'll find out next week. But yeah, Ring just, I don't know. I thought the idea of journalists, those that want to at least call themselves journalists, was to verify and have multiple sources as opposed to, just a narrow source where, okay, yeah, it might be 5 developers, but it's not developer. Like, if they all have one thing in common where they were declined from Game Pass, then that tells you right there, maybe you should talk to ones that haven't been declined. Like, talk to some of those that have been in the service recently and get feedback from there. But yeah, Obsidian wouldn't make sense. It shouldn't have passed his sniff test when he wrote it, just for the fact that, okay, a studio that produced 5 games in like a couple of years, 3 in 1 year in particular, I could see how the expense might be looked at as being something that they would consider to cut if they're just blindly cutting based on dollars. But from a productivity standpoint, or at least from a standpoint that this organization can be self-sufficient without having to be micromanaged and can, put out projects. Sure, they might not be top sellers because of Game Pass or what have you, but that's something that, if you hand them the Fallout franchise or
Yeah.
another IP, might be a different story at that point. So we'll see how all this turns out.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. One thing is just hard seeing all the noise because like there's so many different things and we don't have like exactly clear answers, right? But like they keep having these reports of like this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And then it's like later like somebody like Schreier comes out like this isn't actually happening. This isn't actually happening. Right? We know there's going to be layoffs. Or like and it's I mean, this is probably today or tomorrow is probably when they're going to be notify. I don't know. There's already some reports out there that have been going on. This is around the time that they do it. Like last year, it was July the 2nd. So it was a year ago today that they had the last big thing. And what I kind of anticipate is this year is probably going to be somewhat similar to last year. Except when the Xbox division maybe being impacted a little bit more, but with not necessarily as they've had to come out and say the investment is not necessarily declining in Xbox, but the focus of where the funds are going is changing. Right? They're going after different kinds of games, different projects, changing what they're funding and all that kind of stuff. Last year at this time, on July 2nd, there was 9,000 employees across Microsoft, right? A lot of the articles painted it as like Xbox, but it was more it was Microsoft as a whole, but it hit Xbox and other divisions as well. So I'm anticipating probably something similar. Um, Dusty, have you been trying to make your sense out of all of the confusion and the misinformation of all these journalists out there that are saying I have in sources that are saying that possibly considering this and like it right now really nothing makes sense if you just look on Twitter.
I hate these rumors going around. Like, I'm tired of it. You know, I only want definitives. Only give me definitives, and only give it to me from the source that it should be coming from, which is these companies. Or, if you are actually on the inside, and you actually have reputable information, give me definitives. These rumors are not helping anyone. I mean, what Chris Dring is 2 for 2 now on misreporting, because I saw a tweet from Boom about another thing he misreported on, and it's looking real Kotaku out here in these streets. I'll put it that way. And it's just like gaming media is a circus all in its own. And all we have left at the end of the day, no pun intended, but on purpose, is just fun speculation on anything that can happen and what could happen or possibly happen until we actually find out what is really going on. I hope we find out next week. I hope we get some answers and some news from, these companies, from Asha or whoever. But this game business stuff, like, there's still people on Twitter that are following him, that are like sharing what he's saying as if it's like, oh, this is somebody I need to be listening to. And yet simultaneously you have everybody's tweets going out about how wrong he was for what he was saying and reporting. And it's Twitter is Twitter can always be so many different things, and usually chaotic is one of those, which is a constant on Twitter. But what I've seen today and yesterday, it's everybody on Twitter, left and right, going back and forth about, what are the rumors, and what is the media saying, and well, this person said this, but this person's refuting that. And all we have is everybody just stop listening to game media. Just stop. If they post something, just be like, okay, take it with a grain of salt and move on, because we can't trust them. I don't even know who I can trust anymore in the games media, for that matter. You know what I mean? It's just like, so I would just rather listen to friends within the gaming community about, like I said, what we could speculate about and what we feel would be best to happen or what should happen, and then hopefully find out soon. I don't know. It's a mess. It's all over the place. It's like, I can't even find the right words to describe it, because just reading so many tweets today and everything, and seeing everybody's frustration in so many different directions, and then you have console people warring with PC people, which is ridiculous. And then, you have, team people within Team Green that are arguing with each other, and then you have Team Green against Team Blue, but then you also have Team Blue against Team Blue. And it's just, to be honest with you, at the beginning and end of the day, this is the way that I see it now. It is no longer console wars. It is no longer Team Green versus Team Blue. It is no longer console versus PC. It is these corporations versus us, the consumer. And that's all of us. Even people who have no idea what's going on because they don't pay attention to any of this news. I don't care. Like, I'm mad at PlayStation, but I don't care about console warring against PlayStation. I want PlayStation to do better. I want them to get to a better place business wise and stop being so anti-consumer. So someone like me would want to buy a PlayStation again. But like I said earlier in the green room, I haven't purchased a PlayStation since the PS3, because ever since then, I just have seen anti-consumerism after anti-consumerism after anti-consumerism in so many different ways. And I'm tired of it from PlayStation. And then with Xbox has made their mistakes time and time again, that I really need Microsoft and Xbox to get their shit together, because that's just as frustrating. And then, we have our own problems on PC and whatnot. And it's gotten to, like I said, it's gotten to a point where this whole warring stuff within the community doesn't mean anything anymore. It is these corporations versus us. And that's how it's always been. And they love seeing us bicker back and forth and fight over these consoles about, or devices or whatever it is, that about what's better and this game's better than that. They love seeing that, while we all just get screwed time and time again. And, as far as Christopher, Dream goes, I'll be very honest with you. I really did not know who he was until this whole thing came about. I mean, you reminded me who he was with before he started doing his own thing, and I was like, okay, that, I know that. But he's never been on my radar as somebody I needed to listen to for anything gaming related. I don't pay attention to review scores on games, because that doesn't dictate my enjoyment. And people love to argue about game scores, like when games come out and how they get rated. I don't care about that. I just want good games, finished games, and I want the consumer to feel like they've been taken care of by these companies. I mean, that's what I used to say about Xbox years, like, I think it was during lockdown days, where I was telling people that it feels like they're caring about their community right now. And then certain things happened where like that started to make me be like, well, okay, wait, what the hell is going on? But it did feel that way for a good long time. I want to feel that way again, but from PlayStation again, from Xbox again. You know, I don't want to be one of those people that it's like, well, it's just Nintendo Switch and PC for me, which I don't mind that. I would love to have that setup. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to have to feel like I need to resort to that because the brand I actually want to play with is letting me down. So I'm forced to be over here instead of just choosing to be over here. If that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, I mean, one thing with the just like, it'd be nice if now this is all media. I mean, for that matter, but it would be nice now if like we could just like actually have journalists or like people that are supposed to be covering a specific industry deliver useful information. Like, I don't know. Like that may be too much to ask at some point. Um, Jasper, how
Yep.
do you feel that Obsidian is alive? They're alive. I mean, maybe you thought they were dead this morning when everybody else did, and then you find out they're not.
The thing is, I don't know. This last week or so, I honestly don't know what to think because I don't know if. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't. Have we even had confirmation? Like there was rumors last week where they're like, "Oh, they're closing Double Fine, they're closing Compulsion, they're closing
No,
Arcane Lion, or whatever."
that
So
there's been clarification that they are in negotiations with some studios about their future.
yeah, and
That
we
is
haven't
that
even
is it.
heard.
Yeah.
We don't even know what studios they're talking about
We've had
at the end of the day.
reports that Compulsion, Double Fine. I mean, we've had reports of almost every fucking Xbox
It's,
studio. I mean,
that's what I'm
Ninja
saying.
Theory.
People tried to say Halo Studios also, and then Jez had to go out there and debunk that shit. People tried to say,
See,
Obsidian.
Ninja Theory, Obsidian. Like, there's at this point, here's what I think would be best, Jasper. Let's have Christopher Dring write an article or be on his thing and mention every single Xbox studio, so that way Schreier can come out there and like debunk the ones that aren't real. Like that's
but see,
maybe the
this
only
is my
way. I
point.
don't know.
Over the last week, we've heard just about every single Xbox studio come under the
Yeah.
the umbrella of, oh, they're closing, oh, everyone's getting fired, or stuff like that. So I'm not believing anything this week, and I probably won't believe anything next week
Yeah.
until Xbox or the studio themselves comes out and be like, yeah, we're no longer with Xbox, or Xbox is like, yeah, we're closing them.
Mm-hmm.
Until that happens, like I don't know who to believe.
Yeah, I think like the most biggest voice of reason is Jez right now. Like with his takes on it is that there are talks going on, and I mean it. Here's the thing: like we already talked about this without any of this other noise going on, right? We were here on the show, me and you, Fuzzy. I think it was just me and you, like what 3 or 4 weeks ago, like or 3 weeks ago, probably after the Xbox reset post, right after the showcase, right? And we read Asha Sharma's Xbox reset thing. And we went there and we looked at what does this mean? And then that led us to the speculation about, well, I wonder what's going to happen with Double Fine. I wonder what's going to happen with like Compulsion and studios like that. You know what I mean? Because the writing was on the wall on that post. Like she was laying it out there about, hey, we spread ourselves too thin and we need to be putting more funding into our big franchises, right? That's basically what she said. Not an exact way, but it was easy to look at that and say that this is probably meaning that they're going to be shifting away from certain kinds of games. And at that time, we were talking about, well, if that happens, I think the best we could hope for in certain situations is maybe they can become independent for whatever studios they decide they may end up wanting to move on from. Then all this other stuff started coming out like later, not because of us, obviously, but like the reports about Compulsion was the first one. Then immediately after that was Double Fine. Then immediately after that was Ninja Theory. Then immediately after that was fucking Arcane Leon, right? And then immediately after that is Halo Studios. And then now after that is fucking it was Obsidian. And then like Schreier's like, no, it's not real. Like Jazz is like, no, Halo Studios, like it's not. Why? And we went through this jokingly on our show too, like looking at the studios where it was like, which ones are the untouchables? We're like, Halo Studios is one of the ones because they're reallocating into big franchises. You don't like move on from the studio that's behind your biggest franchise. Now you may want to make changes there. I think there's layoffs going to be across the board here, and you may want to like have more control or restructure the way they operate or whatever. We don't know, right? But like that's the only entity that you have that you own that makes Halo games, right? Like you don't move on from that. Otherwise, you're starting completely from scratch with Halo. And like Coalition, yeah, obviously they're safe. Gears, right? Obsidian didn't make any damn sense today because they're your most fucking versatile studio. They've had the most output out of all the studios, and they're also the most capable of working on multiple different kinds of games and franchises that has proven to be able to get games out in a timely manner. So that didn't make any damn sense. So like yeah, a lot of these like reports and stuff you're like have just been it's just been a lot of noise, man. Now, are we probably going to lose studios? And or I don't know. Like I don't know which ones how many get closed. Maybe there's none that get closed. Maybe there's some that go independent, maybe there's some that get sold off, and maybe there's more investment into the other things, a lot of people have been trying to already lead with the fact that this is just a winding down to sell them off, or that like Xbox, right? Or that this is just a winding down of closing Xbox in general, like and all that. So that people are jumping to so fucking far conclusions, and a lot of this is coming from the media. But then in the same breath, they get mad at Xbox for not being competitive against PlayStation. There's a whole thing doesn't this just doesn't make fucking sense. Like what I ask for from the media is just even balanced coverage. And that's the simple thing. Just even balanced coverage, guys. If you want to even if you want to have opinion-based things, if you want to have your own speculation, if you have your inside sources, whatever, the made up bullshit people that you throw out there with like fake ass information all the time, do that shit to PlayStation 2. Do it to Nintendo. Rip them a new one for charging $80 for a fucking game. Right? Like, you should be tearing a PlayStation a new asshole for being the first ones to announce the physical gaming thing.
Well, if
And
you talk bad about Nintendo, they might sue you.
that's true. But like all you see, even after that PlayStation thing, if you go on like Twitter, like games media sites, it's mostly Xbox stuff still, And PlayStation announced one of the biggest things to happen in gaming in gaming history. The end of physical media. That is a massive thing. And instead, it's, hey, Obsidian might be closing in the same breath of the same show that they're talking about that. And it was completely fucking bullshit. So it's just like, keep the same fucking amount of coverage across the board, guys. Like it's not that hard. When one company's
they're
doing
not going to do that.
It,
like there's been the whole Xbox tax thing has just been real because even if you look back at like when Xbox was trying to buy Activision, when that shit got leaked, they all covered it. But then when Sony got hacked and the Insomniac leak came out, they're like, we shouldn't cover this. It's very damaging to this company, and we care about the game
Yeah.
developers. If we talk about this, we could be hurting them. It's like the Xbox should happen. That's their whole freaking console. But one studio, no, we can't talk about it.
Yeah.
No matter what happens in gaming, it's Xbox's fault.
It's like what these guys don't realize, like a Christopher Dring, right, or whatever, is when they say things, even if it's just saying things, it becomes spread out as news. Fuzzy, do you get where I was saying with this? Like, they get either clipped on a thing they're talking about because, oh, I heard this. This is a phrase I'm hearing. How many times do we hear them say that shit? I'm hearing. Now, somebody close on the inside said, like, they expect it not to be news, but that's the words they're saying. You know what I mean?
You would think they would say a follow-up statement or lead it with, take this with a grain of salt. Like, you can hear things, and it all depends on who you're listening to. Are you listening to somebody in the trenches that's, doing, environmental game design or character animation, or are you talking to the studio head? Are you talking to somebody that's a QR tester, or are you talking to someone that's like the project manager or like a HR person or whomever? Like
or are you talking to Pony Master 3000 on Reddit?
Someone messaged him, said Bill Gates is my dad, and I'm going to get you banned if you don't report this.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't seem to verify their sources in a way that, as long as it fits a narrative that they either already have or agree upon, or something that will generate more traffic, whether it's legit or not, I think that seems to be the focus in a lot of cases, especially as if it's something negative on Xbox. But like, there's tons of negative stuff that they could talk about when it comes to PlayStation. Like, I'm amazed to this day that no one, well, I won't say no one, but a majority of the journalists aren't pushing back on Sony on, not being able to return or refund things, once it's downloaded. Like, you should at least have some sort of window to see if it's compatible or see how crappy it plays. Like, we saw how things went down with Cyberpunk, and they had to, for one time only, make it so you could do a full refund on that game. And they even still tried to fight with people, even though that game was broken at launch for the previous generation. So no one seems to talk about that. No one seems to talk about their controller batteries being crap. Like, you have that controller for 2 years, good luck getting more than 4 hours of use. Now, I know not everybody's going to game for 4 hours straight, but as somebody that will sit there and make a day of it as far as playing games on either of my consoles, I like the fact that my Xbox controllers with rechargeable batteries, or even when it has just the regular batteries in it, will last more than a day as far as for use. My PlayStation controller, brand new, was maybe 6 hours, unless I turned down some of the feedback stuff. Now it's like less than 4 hours, and my wife's PS4 controllers, even just using it as a Netflix box, it might as well just be a wired controller at this point. But I don't know. I hate that they take so-called whispers or rumors as fact and report as such. But when it comes to something that's blatant, like, hey, there's a bunch of people from Bungie that talk about, I just got laid off today. It's like, oh, we don't want to talk about that. No, we want to wait until the reset day. We'll report on that, but we won't report on Bungie. Now, once again, not all gaming media. Some we will report on it, but they report on it in a way where it's almost like Bungie failed on their own, as opposed to big bad PlayStation came in and fired everybody. But when it's Xbox, instead of it being a failing of the game selling or something like that, it's big bad Microsoft mismanaged them and now they're getting rid of these studios. At least, like you said,
or
be
the
fair. Do
business
they even
model of
report
Game
anything?
Pass or whatever,
Exactly.
I mean, it's been like anti so long, and like that can also be a contributing factor to everything. Is the sentiment that's out there is also perpetrated by the same people that are reporting on it, and it's like, what does it take to overcome that? And it's like got to be such an insurmountable thing. Real quick, TK chilling, bro. Super appreciate it with 10 fun speculation gifted memberships out there. Dude, you fucking rock. I know that came through a little while ago. And super appreciate it. Thanks for the gifteds and everybody out there who got one. Congrats on that. But yeah, man. It's like you have over the last 3 years, PlayStation has had massive layoffs. They've had several studio closures. They've had complete changes in business model of what kinds of games they're making twice. They've went 2 games of service all in, and they went back. They're doing a mixture now. Now they were the first ones to go up in price on
They made
games.
VR and then abandoned it.
They made a expensive VR device and pretty much stopped making games for it. They have numerous changes and actually to PC gaming model as well, going to PC and then back. That's the second thing they changed. So you want to talk about resetting business that comes along with layoffs and studio closures. They've fucking done it twice this generation. They've done it twice this generation. They've acquired studios that they've closed. They've started several games that they've canceled. They've laid off tons of people. When they acquired Bungie, they were at 12 to 1,500 people. They're down to about 500, not 5 people. That'd be crazy. 500. So my point with this is Microsoft does it more in chunks, right? Because that's just how they are operating. Sony's been doing this whole damn time. Ever since 2022, 2023. And it's been a constant. It's been a fucking constant since then. Still, Redfall is used as a joke from games media more than Concord is. Redfall is mentioned way more, and so is Scalebound, than Concord ever gets mentioned from any of these people. What other major platform holder releases a game they are saying is their future is going to be like the next fucking Star Wars, and it is such an abysmal piece of shit bomb that they have to pull it 2 weeks after it releases? That is the most biggest fucking joke of any platform holder of any release, probably of all fucking time. And it's like it never happened. I mean, that's like rivaling E.T. back on the fucking Atari. Right? I mean, if there was a fucking... If physical was more popular and Concord is only available physical, there would be a fucking hole in fucking Egypt or somewhere in the desert, and there would be fucking millions of boxes of Concord in that shit, covered up, left to be dug up 40 years later for a documentary.
Made by Xbox.
And it's like, oh, but Redfall sucked. What are we fucking doing? Why are you not giving these things the same level of shit?
The biggest problem for me with a lot of these games media people, and even people like under them, ones that are on Twitter that are these like, quote unquote, somewhat high level content creators that feel like they have a voice in the gaming space, the moment they start going in the direction where they're speaking purely from a space of opinion and swear it's fact, and then you have people that follow that and start spreading that information as if it's fact, it drives me insane absolutely every time. How do you even know this? What's your source? And it's always a trust me, bro situation. Turning a pit, like, just because you think something is something doesn't make it something. And that happens a lot on that platform. And most of the time it's in defense of PlayStation. And it's wild how you could just lie to yourself like this and believe your own, like, not only drinking your own Kool-Aid, but believing that you added sugar to that Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my gripe. And then also, I think it was TK or somebody else in the chat had mentioned Undead Labs and the whole State of Decay 3 situation. That, like, for Undead Labs to be in a position, or any studio to be in a position where they might be let go just before a big release of a game people have actually been looking forward to, that timing just really killed me. Once that, all of, like, is it Ninja Theory, is it this studio, is it that, like, if you want to, I guess, tank your own cells on State of Decay 3, I guess do something like that. But again, we don't really know what is what until we actually get it from the source. And I'm tired of, like, speculation is one thing, right? But I'm tired of certain people on Twitter with their opinions, and they swear that this is what it is. You don't know. We don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I
That's
say
my
all the
take on that
time, I'm
part.
just a fucking dude, that dumbass that lives in Dallas that just likes to fucking be loud talking about video games. I don't know shit. But I know when I see
It,
bullshit also.
exactly.
You
And it's
know?
and it's one thing and it's one thing to call something out that you can clearly see, but what I like about us is that we see things for what they are, and but you can only see it for what it is once you actually have what it's supposed to be. Like, I can give you an opinion on something once I have actual facts, but I can't give you an opinion on actual facts and swear that that opinion is facts. Then I just don't. I look like a dumbass, like how a lot of people do on Twitter. And then the people in the replies that just, like, instantly grovel over their favorite content creator, like, yeah, man, you're so right, bro. You know what, man, like, you're the reason why I game. Like, it's pathetic and pitiful. It really is. Like, why can't you guys clearly just wake up and read the room, see the writing on the wall? This person doesn't know what they're talking about, and they often get disproven. So why are you still listening to them? But people love to gravitate to what they love to gravitate to, and a lot of people love drama and whatnot. So it's, fills their pockets, I guess.
Yeah, man. It's wild out there trying to dig through all this shit and see what's real. It can be fun at times, but, like, I don't like when you see somebody, like, say something that nobody said before. Like, nobody
Yeah,
said anything about Obsidian, right? From the games media.
yeah.
Nobody
Hmm.
mentioned them. And they're like,
Hmm.
and he goes as far as to say negotiating for, like, independence or whatever. You know what I mean? And so when you're, like, a journalist and you're putting that out there, and you're somebody that, you just sat down a couple weeks ago with Matthew Ball, the new CSO, on a stage interview, people are going to think that you know what you're talking about, right? So when you're saying this stuff, it's like, oh shit, Obsidian, and then what do you know? Then you have every other fucking games media outlet cover it because it's gaming news at that point. Oh, Christopher Dring must know this. Oh, Obsidian is reported by. It turns out is just fucking off the cuff. I decided to throw Obsidian in there just for the fuck of it. My bad. It'll all blow over, right? Well, Obsidian was people at work there was probably like, what the fuck? I thought we were good, man. Oh shit. No, hey, fucking, I better call my agent. Oh, hey, you got any
Some
openings
of
over
these
there at
people love to watch
PlayStation,
the world
guys?
burn.
Yeah, it's like, hey, oops. Sorry, guys, I accidentally included a studio that may have nothing to do with any of this stuff. Whoopsie daisy. I can't wait to do my next interview with somebody at Microsoft. It's like, come on, have some fucking responsibility, and that goes to like the lack of care with it all, with it, like, and that's something like if you see like games media compared to other media, even at other all media shit, games media is a fucking joke, bro. Like I almost like when you see like CNN like had Gene Park on today, I was like, no shame on Gene Park. I thought he did a good job. You know what I mean? But it's
Same.
like,
Yeah.
oh, they like it just seems weird seeing like a games media person on a fucking like mainstream media place. But like if you have somebody from the sports world or from like the movie world or any other media on like a mainstream thing, it's like that doesn't seem out of place. When you see somebody from like this gamer sphere, you know, be on like some big news thing, it's like that just seems so fucking strange and out of place. And I think it's because it's like they operate on a different level of actually caring about the integrity of their fucking job. And maybe they would probably argue against this. But for them, it's just like I said this on Twitter, it's like they're really no different than us or YouTubers in general. The difference is they say the word like I'm hearing before they say what they say instead of it being clearly speculation, right? Like the name of this fucking channel. Um
And
and
they ain't heard
that could be
nothing.
dangerous, you know? It really can. When people have that much influence over the bubble that creates the noise of gaming, creates the conversation, to get so much shit fucking wrong all the time. This is like so much, man. How can we, as blatantly fucking just throwing shit out there, guessing, trying to read between the lines, how can we get more shit right than people that actually supposedly have inside connections to the fucking industry people? Jasper, can you make that make
That's
sense?
I think it could be because there's a certain group of people that I think are extremely passionate about gaming, and they kind of can just tell what's bullshit and what's not. Like if you've been
Right.
following the industry for long enough, and you've been in like deep in it, you kind of can see where it's going and like what's been happening, and you're just like, I don't think that makes any sense. Like you can just kind of predict the stuff. It's just like a feeling you get based off following games for 20 years. But then you have a guy from like a journalist site is like he's just out of college, or who knows even if he went to college or whatever. He's like, I couldn't get a job writing about politics, so I guess I'll go write about games, even though I've never
Yeah.
played a single game in my life. Sure.
Yeah. It's I mean, yeah, I mean you're not wrong there. I do question like and also like how versed are they in different games? Or they just like play on PlayStation and that's just what they're familiar with or really what they care about, you know? Because that's what they have in the office there. Because they don't even probably have one at home. Unless they're forced to review a game. They're like, okay, I have to review this. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's it's crazy. And like I like to read sometimes when they have like actual interviews and stuff, because I care about what the people in the industry say. Like I think I don't know if you have this opinion, Fuzzy. I think like Christopher Dring is a decent interviewer because he's a good speaker, right? He like follows up well and creates a conversation in the interview. You know, he's well spoken. He's kind of like a little humorous with it sometimes and stuff like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're good at reporting on information at the same time. And like, and he's like in between both worlds in a way. And I just, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of the right now. I think more than ever, and I want to know if you agree with this, Fuzz. The irresponsibility of the games media is showing through more than ever before.
Yeah, I think they wear their bias a little bit more than they even let on their sleeve. They're quick to complain about us podcasters or YouTubers and such, and
They hate us because they
other
hate
than
us.
them,
I'm
oh
just
well,
kidding.
yeah, and other than maybe them going to official classes for journalism or something to that effect, it really doesn't seem to make that much difference. In the sense of their viewpoints or um, I wouldn't say the understanding, but it does feel like a lot of them are in this hyper focused PlayStation good, Xbox bad viewpoint where everything that Xbox does is terrible, and everything that PlayStation does is either good or we won't comment on it because we don't want to lose our review copies and such. But I don't know. I just wish there was more of a fair and balanced type of approach. Although I say that with my own biases towards Xbox, but this is from someone that was a PlayStation only fan for a good bit of time, primarily because I didn't trust Microsoft for what they did with PC gaming with Windows ME and Windows Vista. Although looking back on Vista, it was more so about hardware and moving past a certain chipset setup type of deal. But yeah, I think the evil that Microsoft did in the past with Explorer and everything that Bill Gates did to get that evil reputation for Microsoft, Xbox will always have that cloud over its head to some extent. And I guess there are people, much like myself, where they started on PlayStation, looked at Xbox, maybe they bought an Xbox 360, but now they just look at Xbox as that platform that let them down, and they're just going to always crap on it, kind of thing. So yeah, maybe at some point we'll get well. There's journalists out there, or at least reviewers out there that seem to be a little bit more balanced, but a lot of times they get accused of being bots. So it's I guess it all depends on your perspective on which platform you prefer, or if you don't have a particular preference, you're a PC player or you're a mobile player or whatever the case may be, kind of thing. So we'll
I mean,
see.
I think it's also just hard because a lot of us here grew up in the era where games media back in the day was like X Play, where they would sit down with the studio head or whatever, or Game Informer, where they would do like 100 questions from some studio head or director or whatever. And that was games journalism. It was directly from the source, them asking questions or whatever. And as media shifted over the years, it's become opinion pieces where it's Joe Schmo on Twitter or YouTube or whatever that's it's like I think PlayStation's fucking awesome. You know, they gave me a free PlayStation, so I'm gonna forever love them and do whatever. It's just a different era of games media, and I think it's hard because we grew up in the era where there was actual journalism.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point. Like I think that it's changed. There's no real. I mean, that goes with reviews. That goes with uh the coverage, all that kind of stuff. It's like, and this they kind of copied and mass actual just mainstream media as well because that's the way a lot of the channels, like all the mainstream news channels, have gone to with politics and stuff. Is like everything is slanted one way or another. And it's just like what hey, if you're this kind of person, you're gonna be wanting to watch this channel. If you're this kind of person, you're gonna be wanting to watch this channel. You know what I mean? and instead of the less just reporting on factual information, you know, and sensationalizing things, and that's like games media has taken that to like a microcosm of gaming, and it was they sensationalize everything into the end of Xbox, right? Or to the anti-industry things, or bad for this, bad for that. But the problem is it's like all of games media except for very few people is only for one kind of gamer. And it's like it's like if your mainstream media and all there was like Fox News or CNN. It was one of the only, it's like it was only one that existed. You know what I mean? It's like all of them just work in the same mindset, and it's like they don't hire any fucking people ever. None of these places that actually give a shit about Xbox. Like none of them ever give a shit about Xbox. Even even a lot of the content creators and the bigger content creators like Greg Miller, the with Kind of Funny and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna try this Xbox podcast for a little while. He has a couple of Xbox guys on there, but they get drowned out. You know, they get drowned out, and Paris goes on there, and then when Paris is on there, no disrespect to Paris, but he doesn't seem to give much push against some of the shit that they give sometimes. And Snowbike Mike does occasionally. I've seen him clap back at times, but it's all like so like 4 out of 6 people are just like Xbox sucks, Xbox sucks, Xbox sucks, And it's like IGN, Xbox sucks. GameSpot, fucking Xbox sucks. Like it's like all of them are just like find every single way to fucking shit on Xbox any chance they can ever fucking get. Even when PlayStation does something bad. And it's just absolutely crazy that we can't ever have this like balance with it, and it has an effect. It has to have an effect. Right? And like people can't tell me that to consumers at home that just get their news or whatever and it's word of mouth, all that stuff, that doesn't have some effect. I'm not saying it's the only reason, that Xbox struggles and all these other kind of things to be as popular as PlayStation. But it has to have some kind of an effect. Like how can you it's like when it's seeming like the industry is against you succeeding, and you do everything goodwill wise you can possibly think of to earn consumer goodwill, and they still go out there and say that you were so anti-consumer, like how can you ever battle against that? It seems, I said this a couple times, it seems insurmountable unless people start calling out the bullshit. And I think that's one of the things that Xbox started doing after Asha took over, right? With this, it's not as much because they are still figuring shit out, I think. We're going to find out what the end results are here of the reset. But I think after this whole plan goes into play, and what they do with the restructuring after the bigger Microsoft layout, this is all coming as a bigger Microsoft thing, mind you, as well, that there's going to be a little bit more aggression again towards a lot of this bullshit. At least I hope so. Marvelous Marvin 956, welcome to the Speculators, and thank you for the 5 gifteds. You fucking rock. And also with the super generous $20 super chat, it says excellent videos and live streams. Thumbs up. Thumbs up to you, Marvelous Marvin. God, what's fucking Marvin's voice? That's the alien, right? Is it No,
Yeah,
Marvin the Martian.
Marvin Martian, yeah.
Not Marvelous Marvin. That's probably like some wrestler from the 80s. No, shout out to you, Marvelous Marvin. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the gifteds and the $20 super chat, man. You rock. I don't know. Destiny, you got any final thoughts on the games media here?
Me?
Yeah.
Going off of some of what you said, the biggest thing is to just stay on, these games media journalists. That felt icky to say about these people. Is to just keep fact checking them. Keep our boots on their necks about like what's real and what's not when they say things like my sources tell me and I hear this and I have confirmation of that. Like, okay, where is that coming from? And don't tell me, oh, I can't tell you because they'll get in trouble with their company. You don't have a source. Your only source is your own personal feelings. So when these games media journalists come out trying to spew what they say to what they're trying to say is true, we just have to keep fact checking them and not let off of it. There has to be a wave of pushback from us as actual gamers over these games media journalists to the point where like they either go away or they have to change. Um, the change part, it's like, how can you even believe that? But it has to change somewhere down the line. If not, if it's still a constant issue, because these people will have their own followings and people that will swear everything they're saying is like the word of the gaming gods. Um, that we just need to be loud enough as podcasters or YouTubers or whatever you want to call it to remind everyone what's actually true, to remind everyone that we don't know anything. We can only speculate on it. And, you know, and until there's a change within that group of games media journalists, like that's just the best we can do for now. They do make their money. Some of them are obviously in contracts. Someone could easily say to me, well, how do you know that? That's just something you're thinking. But when a lot of signs point in the same direction, it just thinks certain things just start to become a little too fishy. And then it becomes a little too obvious. And Christopher Dring is a perfect example where if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't know his work is sponsored by PlayStation. I didn't know that till I was told today. And I just sat there for a second and I was like, if I was following a content creator on Twitter for their reputable reporting on things, I started to see like time after time that the things that they're saying and reporting aren't true and don't make sense, and there's no actual reputable source of where any of this is coming from, I would unfollow that person. I followed you in the first place so that I could get something reputable in this gaming space as far as information. And you are obviously not doing that. But I'm going to go ahead and sit here and convince myself that it is. That's brain dead. And I don't know why these people follow these people, but it is what it is. So like I said, the only way to counter it is to go in their space, fact check them, and remind people, what's really going on. And if we know, we know, and if we don't, we don't. All we can do is just speculate and continue to play our games. But some people would rather play Twitter. And that is a line that's been said for so many years now. A lot of people treat Twitter like it's their Xbox Game Pass, like it's their PS Plus. And they would rather play Twitter than actually play games, enjoy the games that they have, and call out their own brands that they swear allegiance to when those brands are letting them down. I was happy as an Xbox community when Xbox was doing that whole what was it, Xbox Live debacle situation that happened some years ago, and we spoke our minds and we let them have it, and they listened, and because it was so many people that they couldn't help but listen. So, for as far as PlayStation is concerned, whether it's the physical discs or games media journalists or whatever it is, you need to push back. If you really love your PlayStation console, you need to push back when the company is doing you wrong, when a games media journalist is misleading you. Because now you're just as dumb as they are for letting yourself buy into all of it. And a lot of the times there's nothing worse than a smart dumb person. So that's my take.
Yeah. I mean, really good thoughts on that, man. I was seeing a 3-bit an hour ago, like calling out Christopher Dring on that because, like, yesterday, I guess somebody was talking to Christopher Dring. Said the game business, which isn't me, has some advertisers and backers, which include all platform holders, and they think that's some kind of smoking gun. I'm also not actually a game journalist, so it's all irrelevant anyway. What is he? What is Christopher Dring? Fuzzy or like or whoever? Like what is he? Writes about gaming. It does
He's a
interview with
game reporter,
what is
not a
that?
journalist.
Like what the fuck is he?
An analyst? He probably calls himself an analyst or some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, journalists, games is that considered games media? Yeah, I'm sure he has a fucking media badge if he goes to a gaming event.
Mhm.
Or would he say, "I can't accept this, guys. I'm not a journalist." Oh, by the way, will you sit on stage and do an interview with me in front of a fucking crowd where I can ask you industry questions? What the fuck are you, an alien? Who the fuck are you? Who are you, bro? Who the fuck are you? What? I don't understand what you are. 3-bit said somehow a business led by you isn't you. That's very interesting because he said that is it. The game industry biz isn't me, and yet the game industry biz is led by Christopher Dring, an 18-year veteran of video games business media, including 9 years at UK Weekly magazine and over 8 years as head of global games business website GameIndustry.biz. I don't understand what you are. I know one thing is you spread bullshit and then you retract it later because you got called out by a actual journalist. Very interesting. Shout out to Marvelous Marvin, hit us with the $10 again, said, "Laugh my ass off. You're welcome. LOL. Glad to be here." I'm glad you're here, sir. And thank you so much for
I
the
did
generosity.
I did look it up when you were talking.
Yeah.
It turns out he was a boxer.
Marvelous
So,
Marvin?
close. Yeah.
From the 80s?
From 73 to 87.
Nailed it. How close can I fucking possibly be without fucking nailing it? He probably did some crossover wrestling stuff. I mean, with that kind of name. Marvelous Marvin. And again, with another $10 super chat, Marvelous Marvin, super appreciate you, says, "I remember when Xbox had Xbox Arcade going on back in the day, and that was cool." Hell, fuck yeah, that was cool, man. Got so many great games from that stuff, dude. Yeah, those were the good old 360 days.
Yep.
So basically, he doesn't want to take any ownership of being sponsored by Sony, which was the first company he thanked when the game business launched. And then he also wants to detract away from saying he's a journalist. And then wants still to be able to cover the gaming industry.
He wants to be a games media person.
Oh, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I know that name. What did he look like? I gotta look at it. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Oh yeah. Did he get the shit beat out of him by Tyson?
I don't know.
Different weight class, maybe.
What a tangent!
I know. I'm sorry. I get distracted.
It was either him or his son. If I can't remember.
Okay. Looked like Fuzzy. It did look like Fuzzy. You're right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I appreciate the super chats, bro. And maybe you are the real Marvelous Marv. We'll never know. Unless
apparently he died in
oh
2021.
well, I guess it's not possible that you're the real Marvelous Marvin then. Thanks, Jasper. You just ruined that for me. Appreciate it. So The Verge says Biluno says that Sony's PlayStation Disc Factory is already being repurposed. It's going to be a dildo factory now, so they can get fucked twice. They got to make use of all that extra silicone.
Oh,
I don't know what to talk about anymore, guys. I'm so distracted. We went from Christopher Drings and Alien to Marvelous Marvin finding out. Then we found out he's unfortunately dead. Rest in peace. To dildos. Power your
Only on
dreams.
fun speculation.
Yeah. What's PlayStation's tagline now? Greatness awaits. Is that the
play
slogan?
has no
Play
or
has no
play
limits.
has limits.
Play
Play
has
has
limits.
limits now.
Play ain't on disc anymore. It has a lot of limits. It has bandwidth. Your play is going to be
PlayStation, greatness awaits until we take it away.
um
And then it's just sadness and despair and dystopia.
Marvelous Marvin says, "I'm no boxer or wrestler." Well, we don't know what you are. You're like just like Christopher Dring. We don't know what you are.
Dead?
Fuzzy, you got anything else to add to the whole games media debacle? No.
No, I'm just waiting for the hit pieces next week. They're going to do everything in their power to make it so Xbox doesn't compete the way that they should compete. Like we've always heard, yeah, we need Xbox to compete, and now it's like not like that, kind of thing. So I don't know. The games media, they kind of get what they deserve, I guess. With I wouldn't say being irrelevant, but like for their need to find relevance where websites and things like that are kind of dying off, and you know streamers, YouTubers, and such are kind of taking bigger chunks out of their pie, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of brought it on themselves to some extent. So it is what it is.
So this is how I want to end for the conversation. What do we think is actually going to happen? Jasper, I want to start with you.
Are you referring to the PlayStation?
No, not the PlayStation, the Xbox stuff. The whole reset, the layoffs. Like Jez has said, and Schreier, like next week we're gonna know more clear things because this is when like the kind of the deadlines are gonna be for them to make those decisions. Final decisions, the timing of the negotiations would be up if whatever negotiations there are. So what like what I want to know is like what do you think just in your own speculative mind happens with Xbox next week?
I definitely think that we are going to lose a few studios. I think there's going to be a lot of firings at a lot of other studios. I even think there might be a studio that goes independent or gets sold off, like Double Fine, especially Tim Schafer. He will fight for Double Fine no matter what. Like he's done that
Yeah.
before. So I expect him to, if he's not just going to be like, okay, I'm throwing in the towel now. I'm old and I just want to retire. If he still wants to make games, I think he will fight for Double Fine, and you'll see them either get sold off or go independent. But other than that, I think a lot of the other studios, like Compulsion, cannot do that. I don't think. I think they just get put under, and they're done and gone. Same for Arcane Lion. If they are the ones that get canceled. I think they're just done and gone. But I think you just see a lot of firings is the main thing we'll see.
Yeah. You think about the same as last year? You think it's gonna be more?
Yeah, I think maybe even a little less. I don't know. I still think it's gonna be a lot, but I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
They are the like big. Besides employee wise, is Xbox one of the biggest, right? You probably have like, I don't know how many's left in
Well, I mean,
Embracer Group,
if you're
but
including Activision Blizzard and all those, like,
well, Blizzard is a shit ton
yeah,
themselves,
yeah.
right? And then you have the rest of Activision Blizzard. Then you have the whole ZeniMax side. And then you have all the other Xbox studios. I'd imagine there's a lot. I'm gonna actually Google this real quick. Like, how many people
I mean, I think if
work
that's gonna be
at
a hard,
Xbox?
like, because if you're just talking about game stuff, then it's. But if you're talking about like R&D and all
Yeah,
the just
it's
like the
across the
support
board
and
because
stuff,
there's going to be a layoffs in the infrastructure
yeah,
side. You
yeah.
know, like around 20,000 is what Google says. I don't know how up to date that is. Fuzzy, what do you think will happen next week? If next week is when everything gets announced, it's happening. What do you think is happening?
I think it'll be less than last year as far as the number of layoffs, but predominantly within Xbox Studios, maybe even Activision and Blizzard Studios and Bethesda as well. I think one, if not two studios gets closed, and maybe two get sold off or are able to go independent or something along those lines. Or maybe four studios leave and start their own publishing company, combine forces or something. But I do think, unfortunately, some doors close and then some doors get moved on elsewhere, kind of thing. Um, and then more layoffs will come from other publishers. Like, beginning of July will be all focused around Xbox, and then when other publishers or studios wind up doing layoffs, they'll kind of get swept under the rug, even if the numbers aren't that great. But in combination of let's say another platform having multiple studios close, it won't be highlighted as much as the ones from Xbox. But hopefully we still have State of Decay 3 to look forward to. Hopefully we still have Senua to look forward to. Hopefully we either have Psychonauts 3 or a what was the other one that they did? Brutal Legend 2 to look forward to. I think those are the main things I'm kind of concerned on. And I think somehow, and this is going to probably be I wouldn't say the bigger shocker, but probably the bigger wave will be either Todd Howard steps away and just focuses on the TV show and no longer focusing on gaming, or we see some sort of what some people would call heresy with, maybe Obsidian now taking the reins for Fallout. It'll be their franchise to kind of, you know, move forward, whether it's a Fallout 5 or a spin-off Fallout game. I think somehow Obsidian now has that under their belt, and that they will be known as a Fallout studio instead of an Outer Worlds or Avowed or Pillars of Eternity studio. Oh, and hopefully we still have Clockwork Revolution, which I don't think they were ever on the chopping block list, but I definitely want to see that game make it out there as well. But yeah, we'll find out. Oh, and I hope any previous announced Game Pass stuff still stays in place. So Persona 6 still day and date in Game Pass Ultimate. Still hoping for that, as well as a few others that they announced. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, both of y'all's takes are pretty realistic on that, on possibilities. What about you, Dusty? Just your own speculative mind. What do you think next week brings, if next week's when the hammer falls?
Well, my sources are telling me
I'm
what I
hearing.
hear. from what I've been privy to, no. There's going to be layoffs. To the amount, I have no idea, like the percentage, 2.5%, 3%, 5%, I do not know. But there is going to be layoffs. As far as which studios might go, um, like Fuzzy said, some doors just close, and as unfortunate as it is, sometimes it just is what it is. And that's all I can really say about that is it's just a wait and see situation. You can hope these studios get bought by someone else, or maybe these studios can figure out something together in some sort of way, or Xbox can figure out something else. But again, it's like I don't even know what I can come up with because none of us really know. Um, but I do hope we get news soon because everyone can clearly see that, like, anyone that's a gamer that knows about like all of this going on is just like they need definitive answers. No, everyone is just running in circles arguing with each other and whatnot online, and it's just, yeah, it's not good right now. So I really don't know. I hope we find out something next week, but I hope that something can happen with these studios, something positive. Like Fuzzy said, there's games that I'm looking forward to. Clockwork is one of them, um, and I hope they still come. I'm looking forward to State of Decay 3. I've been watching the gameplay on that people have been doing on YouTube recently, and I hope that this restructuring reset that is coming from Xbox, you know, it may hurt at first, it may suck at first. A lot of us might not agree with the decisions at first. I just hope it leads somewhere to a saving grace in all of this. And that, Xbox can build up better from here and make better decisions overall for the Xbox brand, not what's best for Microsoft, but what's best for Xbox, the brand itself. And I want Satya Nadella to stop dipping his fingers into Xbox, but that's just a personal feeling. So I really don't know. I just hope something positive can come out of all this. And I just, like I said, my biggest thing is just give us definitive news soon, please, so we know what's going on, and then
Yeah,
we can determine how we feel from there.
I think one of the reasons they haven't said anything is because this is all going to come at the same time as a bigger Microsoft layoff and restructuring. Like
Well, I mean, I think the reason they haven't said anything is because I bet Asha put out a notice to all the studio heads and stuff, is like, this is what's happening. You give us what you're working on, your budgets. You give us a list of everything, and we're gonna just come to the table and see who's worth sticking around and who's not.
yeah,
And I think they
I
were
mean,
consolidating all that information.
I think that's been going on for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Like that's been going on for a while. I think they've been trying to figure stuff out. They were, the first 100 days, was her trying to analyze everything. Then that comes the mandates, probably from Amy Hood and Satya and stuff, about numbers. And this is across multiple divisions of Microsoft, because this is how these companies operate. This is how Microsoft operates, right? When they do like this layoff thing, it's not just going to target one division. Like they're going to
No.
do massive layoffs across all of Microsoft here, and cost cutting measures, right? And they're going to announce this within that. This is going to be like a massive corporation. Hey, Microsoft is announcing that we're laying off, you know, um, 9,000 people, right? It was like what they did last year, right? I predict probably roughly around the same number. We'll see. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less. I don't know. Um, and within that, there will be restructuring and massive layoffs within the Xbox division as well, right? If the Xbox division has around 20,000 people, I'm going to say probably a couple thousand at least are going to be no longer there. And you're going to have within that, you're going to have either studios got saved somehow, whether you have uh, uh, some kind of sale, for a partner, or you have independency going on, or you have, in the worst case scenarios, a closure, you know. And what I hope is there's more of the independence and the either sale or some kind of arrangement, partnership arrangement, or something like that for them, as opposed to getting shuttered, especially if ones that are for games that are coming sooner than later, especially ones for like games like they have a chance to hit, like State of Decay 3, Blade, like these Senua, like these games are maybe next year, right? And they have a chance to hit. So if they have a chance to hit, then they could hit, and that's maybe a different future for the studio, right there. So like I'm hoping like the best for all the studios, but I think ultimately what's going to end up happening is there's going to be a mixture of all that stuff. And there's going to be a lot of layoffs within the actual infrastructure side of Xbox, because I think that's where Asha is focusing a lot of change to be done as well. For where they are cutting costs on some of those studios and stuff that they are no longer going to be associated with in whatever way. I think a lot of those resources do go into the bigger games that they have been wanting to reinforce. But also, I think there's probably just going to be at least one thing that's going to piss me off. And I don't know what it is. It's just like these things happen. There's gonna be one thing, and I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would you do that? That's stupid business decision. And not only a stupid business decision, that sucks for me. Like whenever these things happen, there's just probably gonna be one thing that pisses me off. And it'll probably be like a game that I'm looking forward to getting canceled or something. Like last time with Perfect Dark, or like Project Blackbird. There'll be something. I'm like, that's just fucking stupid. And then the dust will settle. We'll be on the other side. Xbox will be back to promoting Xbox again and doing Gamescom. They'll be doing things like that. They're gonna have new game announcements or trailers, and they'll have showings of games that are coming soon. We'll know the results of the studios, and we will all move on, and we'll just all be playing Xbox like we always have, except if you want to buy an Xbox now, it's just going to be a lot more expensive. And that's what the reality that I think is going to be on the other side of this here, and we'll just see what happens, man. But like, it's gonna be. I think part of the problem here, guys, is like so much has been put on this from the games media and so much lead up. Whereas like when Sony makes a cut or a closure, it's just like, hey, we're closing the studio. And everybody's like, oh, that was bad news. All right. What did Xbox do today? Blah 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 blah. And there's like this lead up to it, because it's like this bigger thing. And it's like, oh, what's gonna happen? This whole reset and layoffs across Xbox, and they're down because the whole 3% thing, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And this is gonna be people are using words like bloodbath and all this other kind of stuff. And ultimately I think it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a bad layoff time. You're gonna have that next year. We'll all be fucking playing Xbox and be moving on past this, or later this year. I mean, it is gonna be a time, right? And that's the bottom line, because Mav said so. That's what Phasma said. We'll see. See you guys.
The one thing I want to say really quick is how, like, I really want to ask Xbox and Marvel, how hard is it to put out a Blade property?
Well, apparently
I'm
the Blade game is in good
Blade,
shape.
man, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Blade has to be one of my favorite all-time characters, and not just because of Marvel, but just him as a character himself. And it's driving me insane that either company can't figure it out. And it's like, what's so hard to figure it out? There was already a game from back in the day. Like, what? Come on. That's my
Yep.
2 cents about that. I'm very frustrated over Blade right now.
I mean, I think honestly, I think Blade's fine. I think if it like they announced it 2 years ago at the Game Awards, which was like in December. So it was how long? It's been less than 2 years since they announced it, I think, or is it 2.5, something like that? Which Game Awards was it? Was it 2024 Game Awards,
I think so.
guys?
I
I
believe so.
think so.
Yeah. So I mean, it was like announced a little over a year and a half ago, right? And they've been working on it. Supposedly it's not too far along, is what people are saying, and there's a chance that game could come out next year. So I think part of the problem is just with the whole cost cutting measures. The rumors have been swirling around from the games media has been lumping Arcane Leon within that. And I'm not saying it's not possible, because anything's fucking possible. But even if Arcane Leon gets shut down and Blade never comes out, it would have nothing to do with Blade being in bad shape. Although you may see some people try and spread that shit afterwards to save face for shutting the game down, which happens at times also. Oh, this was just a nightmare over the last, well, yeah. All the reports all along for Blade's development, including people that I know have seen the game, is that it is fine and that it looks good and stuff, even
And
Grub was
Kramer.
was talking good about fucking Blade earlier today, and it's like, I think the game's fine. It's just hopefully they don't end up deciding to move on from it because they don't want to finish it, you know?
That's how I
Which,
feel. That's what I'm worried about because a lot of the talk from a lot of people is, oh, these companies take 7 years to make a game. They're not profitable. They should be getting rid of da 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 da. Da. And obviously that's just people speaking. But the fear internally is, I don't want, if that were true, I wouldn't want that to be a case against Blade. Like, let them cook, let them finish it, let them bake the crap out of it and deliver it.
Well, I mean, I think
And I'm just in
if
fear of it. Is all.
if anything, I think the reason Blade gets canceled is because of the Xbox reset. They're probably re-looking at the deals that they've negotiated with Disney and these other companies to license these IPs and make these games. And they'll be like, "We paid you
Yeah,
how much money to make Blade? No, we're going back. We're not doing that."
yeah, yeah. Good
I
point.
I mean, at first too, like people try to be like, "Oh, Blade's in trouble of getting canceled just because it wasn't at the Xbox show," right? And then turns out half of the games at the Xbox show were the games that were in trouble of getting canceled. Like, is what they turned into. So it's like they were making it like, oh, Blade, because it wasn't showing, oh, it must be in trouble. But hey, we saw this game and this game, these games are in trouble. Like, it doesn't fucking like, they were when they were probably planning to show off Blade was probably going to be at the Game Awards, because that's when they announced it. They did the same thing with
Yeah,
Hellblade with how they marketed it originally too. They showed it at the Game Awards a couple times, right? Um, and I just think they were going to show it later at some point. Maybe Gamescom, maybe the Game Awards, or potentially at a Dev Direct next year if it was going to be at a 2027 game possibly, or there's lots of possibilities with that. But like, I think just the reality is, the unfortunate thing is, despite all this noise and all this other stuff from all these people talking about all these studios and stuff, is we just don't like know what's going to happen with any of these studios right now, because all we know is there's going to be changes, you know, and we know there's going to be layoffs, right? And I would say anything is possible. Like they could have a gold mine on their hands that we all think would be the most idiotic fucking thing to do, and they could axe that, you know? And for whatever reasons we wouldn't understand because we don't have all the access that they have to their own books and their own ways they make decisions. But we can still like be like, hey, that's fucking stupid, you know? And it could be a blade. It could be, Sinua. It could be fucking, you know, like whatever. Like it could be anything. They could be like make the worst fucking
Yeah.
craziest decision of all time and be like, hey, we're gonna separate ways with Bethesda now, and they're gonna be independent again. And I'm like, oh no, who the fuck knows? Like anything is possible. I say expect the unexpected, right? Because I bet most of this games media was wrong about a lot of shit, which they normally are, and hopefully we like can all look at it after next week and be like, okay, those moves made sense for them and where they're going, and we're not like, man, that was so fucking stupid. What are they fucking doing? We'll see. It'll be one or the other, or maybe somewhere in between. You know, um, this is gonna be the one thing that's interesting too, guys. Is like within this, we will be able to like I'm not saying that these decisions were created by Asha. They were kind of forced upon her to be able to get Xbox down to more manageable state and also refocus resources into other areas. But that's where we're going to be able to really kind of see what she's actually invested in. The decisions that are made here, like there's going to be like, hey, we're less interested in these kind of games, or we're more interested in these. You know what I mean? Like, so we'll be able to get a clearer vision of Asha's Xbox with her as CEO. I think after this.
I mean, even if Phil was in charge, he would still have to be making the same decision right now too.
Yeah.
Because this is coming from higher up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think when the showcase happened and Blade wasn't shown, that actually didn't worry me because I was like, well, I mean, maybe it feels like it would be too early to show because they're working on it. I think where the fear came in was not necessarily believing in rumors about Blade, but just this internal fear, hoping the game that gets made. It's just my own fear. And seeing all of this hoopla over what's been going on with games media, like people don't know which studios are going to let go and this and that. So I'm just hoping personally to myself, please don't touch Blade. It's just more so that position. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't really based off of any rumor specifically, but it's just more so like, okay, if these cuts are going to happen, just please do not touch Blade. Please do not touch that game. Like, please finish it.
Yeah,
I think it could be really good for the platform.
I don't. If this is, I did a stream the other day where I was like 2 games. Like I was, if don't State of Decay 3, that's a fucking potential gold mine for you guys. Like and Blade also. Like I think both of them have potential. Like Blade can bring in a fan base, customers that weren't interested in Xbox. Right, it has a potential for that. Just because it's an IP that is popular within its own right and has been underutilized, so you'll have a fan base there that's like, oh, awesome! I finally get to experience something Blade again. Holy shit, and I got to get an Xbox to play it or whatever. Maybe it's multiplat. I don't fucking know, right? But then you look at it like State of Decay 3 as like I look at it. Okay, State of Decay looks fucking awesome. We've already seen it. We know what it is. It has multiple possibilities for like TV show or like movies and stuff like that. You could do a lot with that property, especially if the growth of the game keeps getting more and more after State of Decay 3 launches. From their own perspective, I think State of Decay 3 would have lots of potential with the kinds of things they're looking to do, you know? So it just wouldn't make sense for me, from a business perspective for them to do that. And plus also I'm a State of Decay fan, so I'd love to see the third game, But I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm gonna cry if Double Fine goes independent. You know,
Yeah.
or like Compulsion is whatever happens. I'm not gonna sit there and be like I will feel bad for the people, but I'm not gonna be like upset at Xbox for making that business decision. You know what I mean? Um, Blade and State of Decay 3, I'll be like, what the fuck are you thinking? You know? But we'll
What they
see.
end up doing is they trade Double Fine and Compulsion, and they pick up Tango GameWorks.
Trade them. Man, imagine it. Game studios and games were like fucking like NBA contracts, and you had the fucking like trade deadline. Can we just like create this? That would be amazing. We have like free agency.
Fantasy gaming, or like what would you call
Oh, gee, I don't know. We can have a fucking draft every year.
that? The gamer draft, the gaming draft,
Yeah.
something like.
Who would? What studio? Fuzzy. What studio would be your number one draft pick?
That's a tough one because right now, with the game shown, I'm going to say In Exile.
Oh,
The potential with Clockwork Revolution, I think is up there, especially with the steampunk aesthetic, time travel, RPG. Your decisions have consequences, kind of thing. I think them making that game, it definitely puts them high up on the list. But you can't overlook, Ninja Theory. Like
mm-hmm.
they finally, after spending all that time to make Hellblade 2, where they have the mocap, they have the new studio, they have everything. Now they could probably turn out content or turn out games a lot faster because they can reuse some of the assets or, make do with the engine that they have currently and just update or iterate from there. I think that's one that unfortunately Senua didn't come soon enough, or maybe Hellblade 2 didn't come soon enough, or maybe it just didn't sell well enough for it not to be under the crosshairs right now.
Yeah.
But Undead Labs is another one that I really like. State of Decay 2. Like I'm a fan of zombie games to begin with, and when State of Decay 2 first came out, it was a bit buggy. So I, didn't really play it when it first came out, but after a few patches, went back to it and then played that thing for, was it 200 hours straight kind of deal or something? Um, yeah, that 3 with the updated graphics, updated co-op. That's another hard one. Like the draft for studio picks, it's just it's going to be hard with the way future of Xbox looks with all the games that they've shown so far. I just hope a lot of these teams or a lot of these dev teams are still around after Monday or what have you, and they get something else figured out. Maybe I know this isn't going to happen, but maybe they finally say, you know what, Call of Duty doesn't have to come out every year. But that's too
Yeah.
much of a cash cow that ain't happening. So, and if anything, it'd be like, you know what, we're not going to close your studio. You're going to be a support studio for Xfinity Ward, or you're a support studio for Call of Duty for eternity kind of
You can
thing.
imagine
Salt
Double
Mines of Call
Fine,
of Duty.
Double Fine being a support studio for COD.
That would be so soul crushing.
Oh
The only thing
God,
they
that would
make
be
is the clay
crazy.
pots on the tables in the game or some shit.
Yeah, oh God. Yeah. Oh, that'd be nuts. All right. Well, we got to get out of here, guys. Dusty, dude, thanks for joining us again this week, man. It's awesome to have you back in the house, and you know, we'll see what happens next week, and be able to talk to you again at some point when you're free to hop on the show whenever, man. So, um, tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Well, first of all, again, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to bring me back on your show. It's been a long time, and I've missed this. Like, I don't know if what I said today made any sense or if it took well with anyone, but just to be able to be a part of the conversation with you guys again, I respect you guys, and I always show that. And I will definitely hop back on the show whenever you want to have me back on. I should be free Thursdays until August 10th because that's when I start teaching again. And um, yeah, let's see how this news goes. But to be honest, just thank you, man. Like this was a great time. My Mrs. Dusty has been watching the whole stream, and she was just so happy about this. She's just the most supportive woman I've ever met,
That's awesome, bro.
and yeah, man, like you can't ask for a better thing. And speaking about Mrs. Dusty, she's currently enjoying the crap out of Guardians of the Galaxy right now,
Oh,
and
nice.
I got her back. Yeah, I got her back into gaming. It's something she's missed for years, and I just finally found a way for her to do it without having to buy a new whole setup or anything like that. So she is currently playing Guardians on Amazon Luna, and then she's gonna try out Xbox Game Pass with me, and we're gonna play some games together and whatnot. So it's been really good, and we're both enjoying the game, but we're both playing separately,
Yeah.
and I love that. So I know she's thankful, I'm thankful, and again, just much love to you guys. Jasper, good being with you again. Fuzzy, it's always a good time with you, and Mav, I got love for you and always have. And like I said, anytime you want me back, I'm here. Just let me know when.
Right on, man. Appreciate you, dude. Yeah, Guardians of
Oh,
the
and
Galaxy, like,
everybody,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, everybody can find me on Twitter and Threads at the Dusty Uno. It's just keep it easy, but I am both on Twitter and Threads. And in case anybody is wondering, the conversations are the same on Threads, just not as chaotic. But people are very unhappy with the news, so that's where you can find me at the Dusty Uno. And yeah, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Yeah, right on, man. Yeah, I was gonna say, Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the probably most underappreciated games this generation. Um, because that was like so unique for the studio. It's really good. It was polished all the way around, really fun. Great game. Fuzzy, how many shows are you gonna be on this week? And where are they? And where can people find them? And how many times you're gonna rant about whatever?
Well, not many shows this weekend with the holiday and everything. So
Yeah.
everybody have a safe and happy 4th of July holiday. Uh, Working with the wife, doing a school fundraiser for her school district. We're selling fireworks under TNT in Wilmington, Delaware. So unfortunately, it's just fountains and
What?
sparklers because Delaware won't allow the good stuff. But outside of that, might be on Web Dave Sunday if everything checks out as far as the free time or downtime after the fireworks stuff. But other than that, Monday, Double Barrel Gaming for Xbox Lunch Break Special, and then right back here next Thursday. Like I said, everybody have a safe and happy 4th of July. Clear that backlog. September, there's going to be a ton of games coming. There's going to be a ton of games between now and the end of the year, or now until GTA 6 comes out. So make room.
Right on, man. Thanks as always, Fuzz. And Jasper, what about you, sir?
I'll be living my best life. I'm taking a lot of leave now that it's July. So I think I'm working like a total of 10 days this month. So I'll be playing my backlog. Uh, that's what I'm going to be doing is just playing games.
Right on. Sounds like a great time. I'm gonna eat a shit ton of hot dogs and hamburgers tomorrow, and I'm gonna act like that's different than any other time of the fucking year.
But
Um,
why are you doing it tomorrow and not on the 4th?
I didn't say I wasn't doing it on the 4th.
Uh,
No, yeah, I was just saying what I'm having for dinner tomorrow. Why you gotta judge me, bro? I had a fucking burger earlier before the show. Have a fucking burger tomorrow. Probably have a burger again on the 4th. Of course. July 4th. You gotta do it then. I was just talking about tomorrow. Just kidding. Yeah, dude, no, I forgot. Yeah, tomorrow isn't the 4th. But we are having like our fireworks show in our town is tomorrow. So it's kinda like the 4th of July for us. Because we're celebrating the independence of our town.
that's
No,
just
I'm just kidding. That's not how it works. I'm just kidding. All right. Anyways, everybody, thank you all for being here. And you can maybe catch me streaming this weekend. I don't fucking know. We'll just see what happens if somebody pisses me off or if there's something exciting to talk about. Other than that, we'll see you again next week sometime or on a Mavcast randomly. Have a good one. Thank you all for the support and watching the content. Peace out. Bye.